I'm not aware of the reason for that. I don't serve on armed forces committees, any of those, but you know, we could check and get back with you on that. On the issue of the military, we are in a very challenging time in doing the right thing for our military. There's certainly waste, even fraud and abuse that goes on at Pentagon level, and we ought to be looking for any of that and getting it out so that the appropriate levels of funding for the military are there, and make sure that our boots on the ground are trained, they can access whatever they need to carry out the most important purpose that our federal government has in defending and protecting our citizens. With the policies in place now that have historic deficit spending, producing an almost $17 trillion debt at this time, and on average over $1 trillion deficit spending for the past 5 years until this year, finally, as a result of holding the line, sequester, pushing back in the CR, continuing resolution process. We dropped for the first time under $1 trillion of deficit. We've got a long way to go. So the priority decisions have to be made so that the military is resourced, that the military families are taken care of, certainly our veterans are taken care of, but then the needy, the most needy in our communities, receive the benefits that are being siphoned off to a degree by people that are using them unnecessarily or fraudulently, and the waste and abuse that goes on there that leaves less for those that are genuinely in need. And then ultimately turning more of the federal power and cost in the sense of taking things that we shouldn't do, turning back the responsibilities and opportunities to states and local communities. The federal government has to be downsized. It has to be brought back under the constitutional principles. It has to be brought back in understanding the 10th Amendment, that the states control the federal government, not the other way around.
But why is so much of that coming out of the military when we are living in an extremely dangerous time?
You have to ask this administration about that.
President don't like it.
It's a scary time, and when you see what's happening in the Middle East right now, and a total disregard for what America thinks, when Putin and Russia can sneer at the United States again, that's memories of the Cold War developing all over, or worse. We have been a strong and kind nation. Now we are a weak nation in the eyes of much of the world because we have no clear policy. Leadership matters. The decision was made this past November to continue status quo, and let's redouble our efforts as we move forward to return to America.
They're killing.
We have a question here, then yellow, gray, and back here.
This is gonna sound stupid, but what does the government own, produce, manufacture that it has any way to spend foolishly? If you own a business, you don't have money, you don't spend it. Pretty simple procedure.
You think?
I know. You know, Washington Monument got built because not the government had the money. People donated it. Why can't the government learn this again?
Well, let me. I always have an opportunity at a town hall like this to make the statement, and please listen carefully so we don't misunderstand. Who's the government in this country?
Us.
Yeah.
Who's the government in this country?
Not the Republican Congress.
The dollar.
It is us. There is no one in Washington, myself included, or President Obama, that just walked in and said, it's my turn. We the people, and I are we the people too. I vote, it's my responsibility, not only as a member of Congress, but as a citizen. We had the opportunity last time to make changes in what a lot of you are complaining about. We didn't do that.
Started in
We
the
have
Bush
status quo. We
administration.
have majority Republican House, we have majority Democrat Senate, and we have a majority Democrat White House. That's how it is. Now, we are a divided country now. There have been times before we've been divided. And it will happen in cycles, but those pendulums swing. We have to decide in this country whether we want to move toward European socialism, larger government, larger federal control, more central planning, or whether we want to go back to the congressional, or the constitutional mainstream that said limited government, especially federal government, where people can and should do for themselves in every way possible, except where they can't. And it worked really well for a long time of our 237 short years. But we've gotten away from it. I think it would work again. That's what I'm working for. And we'll continue to promote that. There is another opinion in this country, at least one other opinion in this country, and probably many more, that will work for the opposite. America allows us the opportunity to have those debates. When Franklin was asked Benjamin Franklin, after coming out of the first Constitutional Convention, by the lady who said, "What form of government do we have?" He said, "A republic, madam, if we can keep it." Right now, it's a question whether we can keep it.
Lady in yellow over there?
Okay. First, I wanted to say thank you for holding a town hall. There are a lot of congressmen and representatives all over the country on both sides. I know it's not easy, but my question is about Social Security. I know that you have voted for the Ryan budget in the past and that you believe that there are some changes that should be made to Social Security with the concern that it's not a sustainable program for young people like me. So what do you think those changes should be? What do you envision for the future of Social Security?
Well, Social Security is, number one, is a promise, as is Medicare. Both of them are promises. At 62 years of age, that promise is closer to me than it used to be. And that promise must be kept. Anyone on Social Security or soon to be on Social Security ought to be assured of the fact that that system is sustained and will do what it says.